مر الزمان تألقا وأضاء للدنيا طريقا مشرقا وهدى من الرحمن يهدينا به للصالحات وللمكارم والتقى هذا كتاب الله أعذب منهل أنعم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to the 33rd episode of this series, the 40 hadith pertaining to the virtues and the rulings of the Qur'an. In today's episode we will look at the hadith of Qatādah radiallahu anhu, where he reported that Anas radiallahu anhu was asked, كيف كانت قراءة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم? How was the qira'ah of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم? And so he replied by saying, كانت مدا, that his recitation was characterized by the lengthening of certain sounds. ثم قرأ bismillāh Raḥmān al Raḥīm, and then he recited bismillāh Raḥmān al Raḥīm, and he said فكان يمد bismillāh, so he used to lengthen bismillah. So we wouldn't just say bismillah, bismillah, and he used to ويمد الرحمن, and he would lengthen the saying Raḥmān. So he wouldn't just say Raḥmān, Raḥmān, so he would prolong that. Likewise the same with Raḥīm. So كانت مدا, he used to lengthen the pronunciation. It was characterized by this mudud, or this mad, or this prolongation and this lengthening of certain sounds. So this hadith has been used to indicate and to illustrate that the Prophet ﷺ would observe a particular method of recitation, and he would adopt particular rules when it came to reciting the Qur'an. And this is where we learn the science of tajweed. Now tajweed, what does it mean? Tajweed linguistically comes from the word jawwada, which means to do something well and to improve something. And technically it refers to the pronunciation of letters correctly, and so that they are pronounced correctly from their correct points of articulation, and that you give each letter its due right. This tajweed, those of different levels. There's the tajweed of the letters itself, meaning a person pronounces them correctly. So for example, the is not recited za, the. Alladhina, for example, not allazina, alladhina. So there are correct points of articulation in our letters, in our pronunciation of letters. But there is also tajweed pertaining to words itself. So for example, how letters connect to other letters, how words are connected to other words. So hence we have the rules of, for example, idhar. When you have a nun sakin, a nun of a sukun followed by one of the letters of idhar, such as a hamza, then you clearly pronounce the nun sakina. So man amana. Whereas if the nun sakina was preceded by, for example, a ya, then there's complete assimilation, what we call idgham, man ya'mal. So you can see the nun, the sakina, is not pronounced. It's rather being assimilated into the next letter, the ya. Then you have other rules such as ikhfa and iqlab. Then you have the rules of mad as well, of lengthening the sounds. So there are natural lengthenings, and there are those which are obligatory to observe, those which are recommended to observe. And so this will depend upon the style of recitation that a person recites in. Reciting with tajweed is very important, because if a person does not observe the rules of tajweed, then it's very easy that a person can fall into errors. And if he falls into errors, he can change and alter the meaning of what he recites. And it's very easy to do that, to fall into that. Even if you just emphasize on the wrong letter, you can change the meaning. For example, from الذي خلق, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى. If a person just emphasized فهدى and put the emphasis on the wrong letter, it will change the meaning. والذي قدر فهدى, for example, if you said فهدى instead of فهدى, it changes the meaning from then he guided to refer to like a panther or a leopard. So a person's tajweed has to be accurate, and that's why the scholars, they said it is obligatory for a person to practically know how to recite according to the rules of tajweed. Okay, so a person might not technically know the theory, a person might not know the theory, might not be able to explain the rules of tajweed, but as long as he recites with tajweed, so this is what we call tajweed al-amali, he recites with tajweed, then inshallah ta'ala, then he has fulfilled his duty with regards to the Qur'an. So we ought to owe, the Qur'an has haqq upon us, the Qur'an has rights upon us, and from its rights is that we recite it correctly and in the way that the Prophet ﷺ would recite it. It's a sign by which we venerate the Qur'an, and a sign by which we venerate the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So shall I take it upon yourself to learn the tajweed of the Qur'an? Alhamdulillah, there are a number of institutions and people that you can go to learn, so make that effort to learn how to recite the Qur'an. And it's a sign that you love Allah, that you would, from the signs that you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that you strive to perfect your recitation of the Qur'an. Simple as that. If you do not strive to learn how to recite the Qur'an properly, then that truly indicates something about your relationship with the words of Allah and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. So please, brothers and sisters, take this matter very seriously. And inshallah ta'ala, in the next episode, we will look at the importance of the prostration of making the prostrations for recitation in the Qur'an, how it's to be done, whether it's obligatory or recommended, etc. We'll discuss that in the next episode, inshallah ta'ala. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum. للصالحات وللمكارم والتقى نور على مر الزمان